Thank you for being here. I'm thankful to be here too. I'll be talking about some ideas about technology and art and design and how they come together. I'm at the Rhode Island School of Design, also called RISD. It is a school that's been around since 1877, the focus being the highest level of integrity around art and design. I began my life in the field of technology. I was good at art and math as a child, and later on in life I began to combine the two together, but it began as a mathematics person, a scientist. I went to MIT, and there we go. Really kind of learned how the computer works from the software level to the hardware level. And then I left MIT and went to art school and began to switch my focus. And when I went to art school, I was much happier than MIT because I was able to think about expression and art and really get in touch with my hands again. And what happened at art school is I became very uninterested in computers. I began to just draw. And I had a moment in my life where I switched back to computers. And when I switched back to computers, roughly in 1992, it was very exciting. The computer was a whole new medium for me again. I could write computer programs that make images like this. This is an image that's it's around 10,000 lines. And I realized that, for the computer, I can make it do that 1,000,000 times or 1,000,000,000 times. And I began to realize, the computer never gets tired. I realized the computer was a different kind of medium and began to play with it, change it through my experience as someone who came from a technology background. And from that work, I began to make all kinds of things for different companies like Cartier, Chanel, Philips, Google. I made shoes for Reebok, and all kinds of things I would make as a way to experiment with combining technology and design and art. And what happened is in the early 1990s, I was one of the few people that could write computer programs and make designs. And so before the web, I would make things for floppy disks, for CD-ROMs, to run on computers. And of course, the market was very small for this kind of work. And my wife often worried and said, "John, is this going to be okay?" And I said, "I'm not sure." But the web happened, and the web changed everything. And the kind of work that I made became very easy to distribute, and I made different kinds of flying things that would move around, that would change and react. And the work's in the permanent collection of the Museum of Modern Art. So my wife said, "Okay, maybe it's okay." But also along the way, I've been kind of wondering about this thing, the computer, and this thing about making things. So I had a deadline, and I had to make this image. I had like an hour left. And then I had this one pixel that wouldn't go away. In Photoshop, I selected it and delete. Oh, it's not going away. Select, delete. Huh. I would look at the layers. Select, delete. Didn't work. So I was sitting there for 5 minutes. How do I delete the pixel? And I realized it was actually a piece of dust on the screen. I was like, "Oh, what's wrong with me? It's the dust, not the." So I was thinking about that. Or like, I have a fascination for signs. I like the signs because signs are how we see the world. But also signs are kind of like commands. Do this, the sign says. My favorite sign was in St. Petersburg in Russia. Who's been to Russia? Russia? Interesting country. Russia. I like how I went to like a big tourist place, a really important palace. And I noticed how all the signs are in English. This is Russia, right? It's like, why is this sign, why does it say, "Do not walk on the grass" in English? Maybe only people who can read English step on the grass, I thought. And I began wondering, why are you talking to me? Give me a universal sign. So I found a universal sign at that place. It looked like this. It's the do not do anything sign. It says no swimming, no hiking, no driving, no trash, no dogs, no fire or alcohol. This one over here says no plants. Can you imagine going to the palace to bring a plant? He's like, plant. Stop, it's pretty funny, but you never know. No plants. My other favorite one is this one here says no love. Don't hold hands. It's bad, So this sign is telling you to do something, So signs are how I do my work. I made this new, by the way, so we would change it a little bit. Signs are how I do work. And I look for signs, and signs are in the sky a lot. I look up to the sky, I look for signs. When I was in Rome, I saw this, on top of all the cathedrals, there are these beautiful figures of God, basically. And this figure, I thought it was saying stop, stop building, kind of like humanity against technology. And so I began to see these kind of signs, like in the pixel I couldn't erase. I was thinking, well, there's some kind of thing where we haven't figured out the relationship between humanity and technology. And so I began to make a lot of work that didn't involve the computer. I had a whole phase where I began making things out of tape, out of food. I had a whole series of oranges one year where I just made like shapes out of orange peels. My wife didn't like that, but it was kind of fun to play with. I also had a series of rock things. So I would look for rocks on the beach. I was looking for a circle, triangle, square. I wanted to find 100 combinations, but it took me 2 days to find this many combinations. But I began to make things out of rocks and food, etc., without technology, looking for the right balance between how to find a different kind of voice. And I began realizing that everything in life is about how you deal with time, because time is the one thing you can never reclaim. It's why this time we spend together is extremely valuable. We've spent 9 minutes together, and we're still thinking through these ideas. And the best way to figure out how each country or each zone thinks about time is the emergency signs. So like this sign is from Chicago in the middle of the United States. Fire occurs. You should run away from fire. So in Chicago, they say maybe I should run from the fire. Then in Miami, looks like this. It's very relaxed. Like, oh, fire, I'll take my time, Or like, but my favorite place is Paris, because Paris, they know how to run, you see. So it's all how we deal with this idea of time, how we manage time. And time to me is very important. I'm sure here it's the same problem, where the hardest thing in life is often to figure out how many stamps to put on your envelope, because the postage rates always change. You have this problem? I'm sure you have the same problem here. It's hard to remember what the stamps look like. So my envelopes always look like this. I have about the right amount of stamps on my envelopes. And there's a great design invention by the Postal Service in the United States where this stamp was invented. It's called the forever stamp. So whatever year you're in, it's guaranteed to go. So example of a really great design. Let me point out that design doesn't just mean like how this looks or how it feels. A design is about a good idea, and a good idea can come in many shapes and forms.